Oh. Hello, everyone. I believe we are live.
Yep, we are live. I hear it now.
Awesome.
We are live. Great. And now I will mute myself, otherwise I'm going to freak myself out. Welcome to Friday Night Fate, where we will be playing Dresden Files RPG with the wonderful cast that we have assembled here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a second. We will be using Fate as advertised, and we will be playing in the Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon. And we will be tonight figuring out who these fine people are. So we will start at the top left with Andy/Zach.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm Zach, but I'm playing Andy. Full name is Anderson Wells. Uses the pen name Andy Spells because he's not that clever. He is a wizard who is definitely not going to get in over his head because he just cares so much.
Excellent. Moving down the roster to Natalie /
Hi.
Sarah.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Natalie, known online as Chaotic Rogue. I am playing Cassara DeWitt, also known as Cass. I'm going to leave her at that right now. That's all I'm going with.
Continuing on to Danielle.
I am Danielle, and today I will be playing Harmony Ward, who is a bit of a disaster and also a wizard.
Excellent. And then moving on to CJ.
Hi, everyone. I'm CJ Hunter. I'm going to be playing Cole Trickle this evening. He's a changeling, car thief, and don't let that fool you. He's a perfectly wonderful human being, mostly.
We'll see. Moving on to Selena.
Hi, I will be playing Nicole Anderson, also goes by Nikki. She's a werewolf, no big deal. And she's a forest ranger for reasons unknown, and that's kind of her.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least is Nick.
Hello, I am Nick. I will be playing Percy, who likes to think he's a private investigator, and we will see what he actually is. Also, he talks to ghosts.
Yeah, little caveat. Also, I can talk to ghosts. It's fine.
No
I
big
see
deal.
dead people.
Excellent. So, last night we had our session 0. So we did a lot of world building, a lot of talking about what we're going to be doing in Fate. And if for those of you that don't understand or have never played Fate before, Fate is a very, very cooperative storytelling-based game where the players and the DM decide what exactly we're going to be doing. And for a little peek under the hood, if you will, we have settled on a few themes and a threat that will be influencing, impacting, and generally making everyone's life awesome. The first theme we kind of officially settled on is something called Unofficial Neutral Grounds. Portland is a capital supernatural city in the Dresden verse where we will be playing our game. The face of this Unofficial Neutral Grounds that they all know of is something called Yara International, which is a Svart Elf mercenary corporation that has been hired many, many centuries ago to essentially enact the supernatural peace inside of Portland. And the aspect related to this theme is powder keg. There is no official unseelie accorded neutral ground treaty here. So technically, no one is having to deal with, say, Queen Mab being pissed at them or any of the other assignees. Everyone's just kind of playing by the rules generally because it's the easiest thing to do. So I'm sure that won't go wrong. The next theme we've kind of settled on is Supernatural Capital and Information Superhighway. because this is because this is a capital of supernatural community, there is a ton of information. There is a ton of just people and things coming and going out of Portland, and so there is a ton of information. The face of this will be our resident ghost spirit combo, Al, who was a wizard that died and accidentally fused with their spirit of intellect, and will serve as our quasi-Bob for this campaign, for those of you familiar with the Dresden Files. The aspect for this theme is information comes with a price. And finally, the threat that is currently assailing our heroes is upset to the natural order. The face of this is unknown because it's also a mystery game, and I'm not just gonna give you who's the problem child, and as of yet has not had an aspect made for it. So we'll probably work a little bit more on that as we go. And as stated, everyone introduced their characters, and we've all done our background aspects, and we've all done our rising conflict aspects. So that means that we still have 3 aspects to go. So what we're going to do tonight, hopefully finishing up before the break, but we'll see. I don't want to push us. I don't want to rush us. Is we're going to experience together as a live stream everyone's first mission, first story. So if you are familiar with the Dresden File universe, this is essentially everyone's Stormfront. How they are introduced to the world, how they are introduced to each other, and how they all played a role in each other's first story. And so we kind of go and we start with a player, and we kind of round robin until everyone's had a chance to tell their first story. Everyone's had a chance to be a secondary character in someone's first story, and then someone has a chance to be a secondary character in someone else's primary story. And thinking on it this last 24-hour period, I have decided I think the most appropriate person to start with is Percy, because based on what we were talking about, I believe Percy is the last person to town. So that means they are essentially the newest person to Portland. And so we will essentially, not to put you on the spot, Nick, if you don't want to go first, you don't have to, but we can basically start with Percy's first story. And I leave it up to the group how we want to round robin. Generally speaking, the book says, put it on note cards and pass the note cards around until you have somebody else's. Well, I can't reach through the camera to give you all note cards. So it's a little hard. So if you want to just throw it to someone randomly, that's fine. If someone has like a ooh, 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 me, that's also I think fine. But I guess I leave it up to the group.
So I suppose I will start, and if anyone feels like jumping in at any point, jump in. Although I think I know what direction my story's going to go in terms of character. Percy arrives in Portland on a rainy day. It is a Saturday. Percy normally doesn't work on Saturdays, but then again, Percy normally doesn't work on any day, so it's not that much different. He is trying to track down a thief. Someone in Boston stole a ring from a jewelry shop, but did not steal anything else from that jewelry shop at all. And it sounds suspicious enough for Percy to think that it is involved with the ring that he currently has on his right ring finger. He makes his way in the rain in a cab and is dropped off, and has a tip on people who might be able to help him acquire stolen goods.
Hey, I wonder who we're throwing to here.
I think Cole might be the best person to help me in this particular scenario?
Well, hell, I reckon I could. Well, Cole's got a history with the less savory side of town, and probably has made some connections in Portland. Though most of his history is in Boston, so he's trying to. He works in the mechanic shop completely legit and only steals when absolutely necessary, or to help somebody out, or to get himself out of trouble with someone. So, but that doesn't mean he doesn't still hang out at the same dive bars and pool halls and shady places. So yeah, probably with his contacts and some deceit, and probably some sort of shenanigans that involve both of them running down a back alley and trying to get over the fence before the guard dogs get to them, could probably help you find somebody. So yeah, absolutely, I could see him getting involved in some shenanigans and recovering that ring.
Do you think your Portland contacts are reliable enough to get this yet, or have you not quite built that up yet?
I mean, I suppose a roll could be made. His contacts are fair, not amazing, but.
So we could do a roll if you'd like, but the story version, the first story is much more narrative based, and so.
I'm thinking he probably would know. Basically, he knows mostly car people, but the thing is, people who fence cars fence other things too. So probably knows a fence.
So throwing it to the two of you and technically the group. So Percy goes to Cole. Cole knows enough to find the next person, but doesn't know how to get to that next person. So who is the next person that they need? Because this will be essentially the third glom on to or the second glom on until Percy's first story. So who amongst the rest of you knows someone that would be able to help track this down? Now it could be the wizards, because thaumaturgy, finding things, that can happen. It could be the therapist, who might have overheard something about ring stealing for whatever jewelry piece this is, even if it isn't.
She might break client confidentiality.
I mean, I gotta imagine that being, fencing stolen goods for supernatural creatures has got to be a stressful job. They're probably in therapy. Sure, I would be. Unless
one of the wizards wants to jump on this, I think I would go with this for Kasara. So, because she works as a therapist, she's great at her job, but she's not the most ethical at her job anyways. So no, she probably has some not, great clientele. And so I would go with, she probably has known one of her clients that may or may not get into, they say they go to pawn shops and just trade off jewelry. They ignore how they acquire them. Okay. But I do know somebody who moves a lot of jewelry.
Okay. So.
And I may or may not have been given a gift of it at some point in time or another from this client.
Excellent. So based on that thread, Percy, you found this piece of jewelry, and together you will solve this case, right? So, and from that solve, you all draw an aspect. So Percy, coming back to you, how does this progress? So you've got you've got the two other contacts, and you have found whomever this is. What happens next?
I want to ask Natalie's permission to kill this NPC.
Oh man, we haven't even named this NPC yet. I haven't even named this client. It's great. You're going.
Cole's is over here going.
We're starting off strong. Kasara would.
I mean, just so you know, it is storytelling killing, not Percy killing.
Okay.
So Percy isn't the one. We find the character dead, and the lead goes cold. Like, we solve the case of who did it. but we don't find
But we
the
don't
ring.
actually. Okay. Yeah, I would say yes. Let's do. I like that. I'm like, please don't. This is not my introduction to you. Please
No, yeah.
outright killing them.
No, Percy
yes.
doesn't kill, but in terms of investigation, I like the going cold type thing.
Yes. And actually, I want to add on to that because I think it'd be kind of funny for, especially between our characters, if like we find the body, like if I'm there when I find the body because I'll ID it.
Mhm.
That is not my fault.
Are they ever your fault?
Buy me a drink sometime and I will tell you a story.
I will take you up on that. And he's going to bend down and start patting the body to look for the ring. That is not there.
Okay, so ultimately not found out. Somehow this potential thief maybe was involved in something they shouldn't have been involved in and got clipped by local assassins or not local assassins. Who knows? They could be never never assassins. This could be fairy shenanigans. We're into Dresden verse now. Anything could happen. So from each of you, what do you think that aspect is that you draw from this story? Because that's the next part. Like, what do you draw?
So I'll go first because it was my story piece.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably more than ever before Percy leaning on other people. He generally goes to a city and relies on himself, and Manny's been pushing him to be more social's not the right word, but less introverted. So
Okay.
maybe like phase aspect of opening up or beginning to trust people.
Okay, yeah, I think I like that better, or something with like open to new friendships, or yeah, beginning to trust, or turning over a new leaf, something.
Yeah, turning over a new leaf I think is pretty good because it also describes other aspects of his life as well. So I like that quite a bit.
Okay, and then Cole, what about you for your assist?
Well, basically because he's connecting people, I chose the aspect fingers in a couple of pies.
I like it a lot. Okay, all right, and then maybe even,
no way that's going to backfire at all.
no, definitely not. Nope, putting fingers in pies never goes wrong.
4 and 20 blackbirds. Boom.
And it kind of like also demonstrates like Cole getting a little bit deeper into the underworld of Portland. And then
God.
What about you, Kasara? What do you think? What aspect are you pulling from this story?
I almost think this one's a little bit of I know a guy because of her like varied clientele.
Okay. That's.
I have an idea for that one for an
Go
actual
for it, please.
name. Everyone needs therapy.
Actually, that's perfect.
I was gonna go a little bit more like basing it like you're a therapist who's willing to sell out her clients to get what you want in the world. Like that's like, yeah, everyone needs therapy, and
Yeah.
maybe I do too. I don't know.
Everybody needs therapy.
No, everybody needs therapy.
No, I like everybody needs therapy. That's
Okay.
Pretty good.
All right, very cool. So that's Percy. Percy, would you like to nominate someone since I put you on the spot as the very first person to go?
Sure, I'm gonna roll a fate dice, which y'all can't see, but if it's a plus, I'm gonna, because there's 3 people who haven't gone. It was a plus, so that's Andy. I decided in my mind what it was going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
So, throwing it to Andy Spells, our local dad wizard.
Yeah. All right. So Andy actually arrived in Portland in the 70s and has kept, for the most part since then, a pretty low profile, just working on like writing and trying to put his days as an ex-con behind him. And that works for a long time because Yara Industries takes pretty good care of things in Portland. Until more recently, and Andy caught wind of a supernatural death that Yara was not looking into for some reason, and the Portland PD is way out of their depth to handle. And with great reluctance, because this worked out so poorly last time, Andy decides someone has to do something about whatever is happening and starts to look into it. But he is not an investigator, so he's going to need some help.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to help out with that, because that's kind of what the pack does, is they keep an eye on possible threats to Maine and help protect it. So if something happens, then I would be a part of that in some way, investigating already, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe we were separately investigating and start to compare notes.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
Very cool.
Okay.
So trying to investigate.
Trying, yes.
Yeah, maybe a kill that's outside of the city proper, so Yara doesn't think they have to care.
Yeah,
It's out
that
in the
could be.
out in the
Out of
woods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of town in the woods.
Yeah.
Right.
you go.
Yeah. And I hear about it from somebody in town and start to look into things, thinking Yara should handle this, and then they don't. So, but I'm also thinking that my thought had initially been that Yara knew and was kind of made the decision actively to not look into things.
Huh. That still could be a possibility.
Well, yeah, it's still like just have this convenient excuse of, oh, it's
Right,
way
yeah.
out there. I don't.
It's
Yeah.
out there, so it's out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah,
even
they've
though
never
we-
bothered about jurisdiction before, but now they
Right.
are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Now it
And-
matters.
and that's strange too. So, and being in the forest, I feel like probably means there's Fae shenanigans.
So
Gee,
maybe
why would you say that?
I mean,
so maybe you go and investigate, and I'm already on the scene investigating. So that's how we meet in the
Yeah.
woods.
yes,
And there's a fight because there's always a fight the first
I mean-
time the main characters.
right, yeah. Or we see the ghost moose and we get distracted.
Iron Man versus Thor for a second there. Yeah.
Ghost Moose shows up.
Like you freak out because there's a ghost. I'm like, oh, he's just there all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just there.
If we
It's
get out of
fine,
character
it's
creation with
fine.
no one having a ghost moose aspect, I'm going to be very surprised.
The ghost moose. It's gonna be funny when it murders all of you. I mean, what?
Great.
Ghost Moose is the big bad. Call it now.
Maybe at
Okay.
least 5 minutes
Okay.
for my backup character concept.
So
Oh.
Nikki helps.
Yeah. Because I do have a high investigation. I'm good at investigation.
So that leads us to the next question. Who is the second helper? It can be one of the three that already went, or it could be Harmony. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be the new people only. Like, it doesn't have to be like splitting up into 3 and 3. Like, you can,
Yeah,
you should and can overlap. So I guess the next thing is, what is the clue that leads you to the next person? So that's probably the
Yeah.
best thing. Like, something is like, we need blank.
Maybe we find Kasara's card in his pocket.
Well, I was thinking that, or man, sure it'd be handy if we could talk to a ghost or something.
Yeah,
Right?
those are 2 options. If anybody's interested in
I mean,
doing that.
Or died in some horrible
Or-
magical accident.
that's true. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I mean, obviously our victim died in some horrible way that is involved supernaturally. It's the reason I'm even caring, and probably why Nikki cares too, to some degree.
Do we want to possibly identify what could have killed the person? So maybe like a ghoul or something as grisly as that, or even something a little bit more subtle. I don't remember a lot of the monsters of the Dresden verse because I haven't read it in a bit.
I mean,
So-
a ghoul problem is always bad, so
Yeah.
There's
we
always a
should
problem.
go with that. Which also makes
Yeah.
it weird why Yara's not looking into things, because like
Exactly.
ghoul problem would be real bad.
Yeah, ghoul. Yeah, they're probably dismissing it as one ghoul, but if you have one ghoul, you have
Right.
1,000 you
They're
haven't seen.
Never
Roaches.
just one ghoul.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems
Okay.
like a ghoul problem, and that leads you to whom
Yeah. Hmm.
and
Who wants-
why. So there's like I said, there's a couple. Like you could there's Sarah's card in the pocket of the victim. That is a possibility. Maybe Percy is in town already, so Percy is maybe starting to make a name for themselves about the fact that they see dead people and can talk to them. Harmony is maybe a magical researcher that's new to town, and Andy, maybe you've always wanted to go and introduce yourself to Harmony, you just haven't got around to it. Or Cole, because however these ghouls got here, they likely were smuggled in, or they made it up here somewhere, and so they had to pass by, and so someone with their ear to the ground or fingers in many pies might know how the ghouls got up here to start forming a collective.
Yeah. Is anybody interested in jumping in?
Yeah, does anyone feel inspired?
I actually really like the idea of the card in the pocket. I
Yeah.
do think that
Yeah,
that's
I
a
kinda like
super
it too.
fun.
I think it also helps settle. Maybe it's not necessarily that everybody needs therapy. It's just I have a very particular kind of troublesome clientele.
Yeah, your clients keep getting offed.
This is
Really bad for business, okay?
not a great precedent.
No.
You do always have
My
open appointments,
history
though.
of like, I don't have a great history of people dying, so maybe I just slowly get convinced that like everybody just keeps dying around me. Actually, that's a terrible thing, but possible. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
good with this.
I dig it.
And it's also like, oh, well, I know her.
Well, and
We
that's
can
just
just go talk to her.
That's just it too, because Cass and Nikki we're friends, and so we're best friends. And so you probably see this, and it's a matter of, ooh, I don't
Yeah.
want to have to tell her another client has died.
Well, it could be the first client. We don't know which, like, we don't have
Yeah,
a timeline set
yeah.
up, so it could be
timeline. It could be the first client you've ever
Yeah,
lost.
that's true.
however you want to play that, but
Yeah.
Okay.
So the victim has Sarah's card in her pocket.
Always great to hear your GM laugh like that.
Right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I was definitely watching Adam's face when I was like, Yara didn't look into a murder, and he went, oh, really?
Excellent. Okay, so where does it go from there?
So from there, I feel like we probably, with Sarah's help and figuring out where this guy might have got tangled up with ghouls and how we got on their radar, my idea was that we then are able to track down where the ghouls are, and the three of us, or at least maybe the two of us,
yeah.
take care of the problem.
Probably the two of you.
Yeah.
Sarah, despite her nature, because I'm holding on to that one for a little bit here, she doesn't know about it, and Nikki actually probably is aware of the fact that Kasara seems to be very unaware of the world at large.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay, so to keep Kasara out of it, but
So Kasara
Yeah.
essentially is like, oh, I have his home address on file. I guess I could let you, since he's dead, I guess client confidentiality is a little murky now.
Probably
Yeah.
my like due diligence to help you in this case at this point to kind of figure it out. I mean, he's dead. I'm not
Doctor client privilege ends at death.
exactly.
Clearly.
And I can also be like, hey, like I'm trying to do something here, friend. You know, can we work something out here?
So I think the three of you go to this place and you find whatever clue leads to, not the house, because that's not where the ghouls are living, but
right.
perhaps a secondary, abandoned barn house farmstead somewhere that they're setting up in. And yeah, maybe you or Andy and Nikki just throw down old school style, spells and wolves or spells and teeth. Oh no,
Yeah.
we're turning into Invisible Sun. And
that's
just
bad.
just go to town. And there are not very many ghouls, so you're able to kick ass before it gets too bad.
And I probably would have called in the pack at that point. If it's multiple ghouls, I wouldn't try to take them on by myself.
I would have also probably been like, please call them.
So
Yeah.
okay,
Please call for
interesting.
backup.
So you call for backup, and maybe your pack comes. Maybe they send a few people and not the whole pack because
Right.
you have that like, ooh, you're still friends with the vampire, and they're not happy with you.
But we don't want.
But I'm also the alpha.
Right.
Yeah,
also, there's ghouls. You assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like they're
and it's their duty to protect.
Their duty trumps their essentially spite against you. For now.
For now. It'll be a thing.
So now we have to draw aspects. So Andy, what aspect do you think you glean from this?
I was thinking like dragged in because I was reluctant to do this, and I only did it because it seemed like no one else was taking care of something.
Well, you care too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's already my trouble, I guess. That's true.
That's already your trouble. But related to that,
Is there a way that you could work in that you research something that the official policing unit mercenary group didn't?
Ooh, yeah.
There are others fear to tread.
Yeah, something like that.
Might be
it's kind of playing on you're paying attention when other people aren't. Something along those lines. How to word something like that?
No red tape.
Ooh, I like that.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't do red tape, which can work against you when it needs to.
Oh yeah. All right.
I don't do paperwork.
Yeah. All right. Nikki, where do you think you're at? What do you think your aspect comes in?
Maybe calling in the pack, saying like I need your help.
Okay. That's a good start. I think there needs to be a little bit more there needs to be a little bit more not evil, I guess, despite my evil laugh. But more there has to be a downside, because like just calling in the pack is a great invoke, but like there's got to be a downside.
Right. Calling in a favor. So I
had something pithy. How about instead of calling in the pack, how about cry wolf?
That's fun.
Yeah, so that that definitely allows it to that they might answer or they might not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cry wolf. There we go.
I like that, especially with how they were reluctant to send. Like they don't send the whole pack either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We send a couple.
Yep.
Just a few.
Enough to take care of the problem.
And all right, Kasara, as your last guest starring, we'll still get to your story, so it's fine.
Something to do with ethics and like ethical ambiguity or something like that. Ethically ambiguous. I don't know. Something along those lines.
Ethics are more like guidelines than actual rules.
Ethics are more like guidelines. Like so, I think that is.
That's pretty good. Or something. Something like my ethics end at my office hours or something like something like
They don't even.
Like outside of the office.
Built this into appointments at this point. Part of my treatment.
How did you get your license?
We don't talk about that. We don't. That might be
a
good story.
You know a guy.
Don't talk about that one for a lot of reasons.
Okay.
But yeah, something like that seems pretty on point. Like, you know, ethical gray areas or
ethics are a guideline. Ethics,
yeah.
Ethically gray. Which I actually kind of like the idea of adding in gray in there, but yeah.
Morally flexible.
Morally flexible. Yeah. All right. I like it. And then so you guys kicked ass and took names.
Chaotic, ambiguous.
Yep.
Oh wait, wrong game.
That
Not
works.
horribly off.
All right. So Andy, who do you want to throw it to?
Well, Harmony hasn't gotten in on anything yet, so I feel like this would be a good chance to toss it to her if Danielle's all right with that.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Harmony. What do you got for us?
All right. So, so Harmony, when she came to Portland, part of it was getting away from her family, who she's very angry at. But part of it was also because she took a job at the University of Southern Maine. She is a linguist who does translations. So my thought is that, you know, in the course of doing a lot of her translation work, I've decided she is an expert in ancient Sumerian, just for the hilarity of it. That she comes across something very ancient and old, some like tablet or something, and she translates it and discovers that it's some really nasty magic, something very dark and powerful. And she does, this is really her first time encountering truly dark magic, and she doesn't really know what to do with it.
Some warlock shit.
Yeah, like warlock shit. And even worse, after, well, so first I think she would probably go to her favorite community dad wizard, who's been around the block with wizarding stuff a little bit more than she has, and basically take this to him and be like, what do? I don't know.
Community Dad Wizard has a superb lore also, so that's,
yeah,
you know, helpful.
And sort of as we've got our heads together trying to figure out what we're going to do with this tablet, someone tries to take it. Someone or something tries to take it.
Absolutely.
I have not figured out what that someone or something is.
Yeah.
It's a warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a sorcerer that maybe is going that way, like a warlock in essentially a warlock that is becoming a warlock. They're not quite a warlock yet, but they're on warlock's door.
An embryonic warlock.
Yeah, I mean, because for those of you who are watching in the stream chat, unlike most systems, magic here has a moral compass. And if you violate the laws of magic, you are actually corrupted, because magic is a living force that tries to do good and promote life. If you twist that, it actually twists you. So becoming a warlock is a thing that happens in the Dresden universe if you break the law, interestingly enough. So
and guys in gray cloaks show up, cut your head off.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's judge, jury, executioner style stuff.
Which neither of us are wardens, as far as I'm aware.
I am not a warden.
Not yet.
Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Please give me more responsibility. That would be great.
Yeah, you know, Dresden might need some help.
Oh, good.
Joy.
I have a question.
Go for it, Nick.
Do you want the tablet back at all?
Well, I think so. The idea I had was that someone tries to take it and we manage to like fend that person off so it doesn't actually get, or maybe it does get taken. I don't know. And then we do have to go get it back because
I have a really silly and dumb idea. What if the person who stole your tablet was your lovable ghost-speaking PI who got a lead on something but was told that they would only get that lead if they did this job?
Oh no.
So my question for you is, so because I wanted there to be like a confrontation when it gets taken, could you steal it against two wizards in combat?
I could steal it and then get my backside handed to me by two wizards in combat and then explain the situation, because talking is kind of what I do best.
Yeah, or so it's stolen and you guys track it down. Essentially in using thaumaturgy, because you have a piece of the tablet maybe,
maybe it's broken
you track it to the exchange, And so you guys bust in at the exchange rather than like trying to wizard battle inside of the University of Southern Maine or University of Southern Maine.
It's gonna happen.
You wizard battle in a warehouse or a drop location like an industrial park. And Percy's like, whoa, I'm just here to try and find a ring. And you guys are like slinging magic around. He's like, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was stealing from wizards.
They said take a tablet. I thought it was the electronic thing. I didn't know what I was getting into. So
that there's still a confrontation, and maybe in that It's been a day. In that conflict, maybe the tablet gets broken, which is maybe not a bad thing given how powerful a spell it was and how evil a spell was. Now, that is my interpretation, but if you guys want to spin it differently as fate, you 100% should do that.
I mean, that's fine with me. That I guess that sort of solves, if it's broken, maybe we can just dispose of the pieces somehow, and then we can just sort of not involve the White Council at all.
It could even turn into like a hanging on to the Denarian situation where like we each take a couple pieces for safekeeping because we don't trust anyone else to have it.
Right.
Because even the pieces are probably dangerous.
Yeah, because it could be put back together if someone got
Right.
pieces.
Or some idiot could try something with just a piece of the thing, and that would be even worse somehow.
Yeah.
You guys
We're
just
now guarding this ancient tablet.
You're welcome, Adam.
I love my players so much.
Speaking of some idiot trying something, Percy's
And
there with his
somewhere out
hand
there
out
is this
asking for a
warlock.
piece.
This potential warlock who has a chunk of this dangerous thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Like what happened? Like we couldn't have killed him, I imagine.
So probably in the kerfuffle, maybe even the tablet exploding, the dust clears because it released magical energies. Like even the tablet itself was magical, not just the spell that was on it. But when it exploded, you guys were all like, kind of like woke up, and you three were still there, and the person that not Cowl, but the person that was there is no longer there and is disappeared, and you can't.
The person who's not Cal but is totally Cal.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. That's a little. I mean, maybe I would do that.
Inspired by Cowl.
Inspired Cal light.
Cowl and Jason.
Cowl
Yeah,
1.0.
is pretty
It's
Cowl
great.
So if he's Cowl Light, is that just we just call him Hoodie?
Maybe he was wearing a hoodie the whole time.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
So that there's a piece of this out there somewhere. Like we count all the pieces and we're like, oh no, there's one missing.
Yeah, which is a problem.
Yeah.
We have most of it.
Yeah, well, even if he can't use it to cast a bad spell, which would be great if he could, but he can still use it to find the other pieces.
Right, which is also a problem for us.
Big problem.
Like I said.
Yeah.
That's a big problem for later.
Hey, Harmony, I'm going to show you how wards work.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. That's a problem for future Andy, who hates past Andy.
Yes. Let me teach you about thresholds and things.
Deal with the tablet.
Okay.
And Percy steals it for information about his ring. Ends in a conflict. The tablet is destroyed. Or no, the tablet is shattered.
Shattered is good.
And a piece is missing. Okie dokie. So now comes the terms of the assets, or aspects rather. So, Harmony, what kind of aspect do you think you drew from this?
So I feel like it has to be something related to guarding the remaining pieces of this and trying to find the missing piece. So maybe like guardian of black magic, but like something along those lines. I don't know. I don't have a clever wording.
Name the tablet. Guardian of the blah blah tablet.
Oh.
The tablet could be an aspect, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems important.
Yeah,
Sumerian
so
Sentinel,
just name the
something like
tablet
that.
something magic-y or Sumerian, and then you're the guardian of that specific tablet.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't want to. Yeah, it's great if it's named Sumerian. It would be horrible if there was some kind of industry in town that was also named after something Sumerian.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Better than what I was going to suggest, which is to spell tablet backwards. Like, because that always sounds cool.
Usually,
I could go like look up a Sumerian
Oh,
god or something, and
yeah,
Yeah,
I was
go for
gonna I was gonna suggest either like
Elbat.
in Kidnu or like something like in Kidnu's tablet or something along those lines. But
I think he wants us to use Echidna.
no.
He said it 3 times.
No, that was the first Sumerian thing that popped in my head. But go and do it. I know.
I'm gonna find a thing. But yeah, it's gonna be Guardian of the whatever tablet.
Okay.
Um,
You
That
steal
sounds
from
great.
Snow Crash, it could be Enki's tablet.
That was the second thing that Snowcraft was the second thing that popped in my head. All right, so then that leads us to Andy. Andy, what aspect do you draw from this?
Not sure. I guess I'm not sure how to separate what I was thinking from my high aspect, since it's already a community dad wizard, but the like at least Andy's Yona he's the elder wizard, so he's the one that gets come to for help more.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where to take it.
Do wizards do mentors?
yeah.
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 So like
Yeah.
like,
Would Andy be Harmony's mentor?
I mean, Harmony's already a fully fledged wizard, though.
but it does. But you still have several like decades worth of experience on her. She's still pretty young.
Okay.
Sure, but
Perhaps something like not my first rodeo. Seeing like you are very experienced, you've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, something like mentor based or not too old to be a mentor or something like that.
everybody knows Andy.
You could do that, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
I guess
comes
that's-
to Andy. Everybody comes to me for help,
That's true. Yeah.
which is a great
Someone in need.
I mean, you won't have a lot of fate points kicking around,
That's true. No, I will not. I have one.
but you could use that kind of aspect to jump into a situation that you might not otherwise be, because everybody always comes to me for help, so therefore I'm probably there. Like, so those kind of aspects are useful to basically make sure you're in trouble with your friends.
So like everybody calls Andy.
Mm.
Calls Andy.
Who you gonna call? Andy Spells.
Who doesn't have a cell phone.
We're ready to
Yeah,
believe you.
who you can't actually call because he doesn't have a real phone.
Yeah,
that's
I have like a rotary phone.
I used to use the payphone down the street, but then the payphones all went away, so I had to get a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Also, I've come up with a name for the tablet. The Sumerian underworld is called the Kur, Kur. So this will be the Kur tablet.
I love it.
I love it.
Why you do this to us?
Oh,
That didn't occur to me.
guys, oh, my heart is so full right now.
Vader would be proud of you.
Thank you.
And then finally, Percy, you also get an aspect from this.
My thought, and I am willing to be convinced otherwise, is winning back the wizard's trust.
Okay.
Because it puts a dynamic, and it also can be compelled as a negative of like, hey, don't do that thing that would help your friends, because then the wizards might not trust you as much.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
other wizards can make you do other things because you're trying to earn their trust.
Yeah.
Or someone could
Nice.
convince you that if you do this thing for me, it will make you trust them, trust you more, and
It'll
things
help
like that. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it would be specific to Andy and Harmony, and not like
No,
wizards
yeah,
as a
I get that.
Wizards in
community.
general. Yeah.
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 Like,
There-
hey, the wizards in Portland will trust you more if you do this.
Yeah, I think we're gonna cap out at Andy and Harmony being the only fully fledged wizards in, at least that you know of, in Portland, and that there won't be any other major players of wizards kicking around and running around.
That we know of. Yeah.
Like I said, my heart is so full. All right, Harmony. Do you have someone to nominate between Cole, Nikki, and Kasara? Because the three of them have not done their story yet.
Let's go to Cole, because Cole has not participated in one since the first one we did.
Okie doke.
That's fair. Okay.
So Cole, what was your first story in Portland?
Oh, geez. Probably him stealing something. Shocker.
Seems on brand.
And because I want just to throw a loop in something, he had to steal a boat.
Had to steal a boat.
I love it.
Why did you have to steal a boat?
That's
So
where
good.
I want to say it's probably something to do with the Fae. It's some kind of debt called in so that he's allowed to stay out of, basically to not be on the roster. I don't want to be on the rolls. And
Sure.
somebody's like, I'll keep you, sure, I'll forget your name if.
So you have
You
a
do this thing.
contact. You have a contact that basically bilks you for jobs occasionally, so they don't put your name on the list of changelings that can be bothered by higher ups.
Ideally. Not the summer winter stuff. He just like whatever. And it's probably something that everybody knows he's in town, but they're not officially acknowledging that he's in town. Kind of Fae shenanigans. I mean, if the summer lord or duke shows up at my apartment and strong arms me into doing something, I'm gonna do it. But
yep. Okay, so
but it's not like summon Cole to the court. I'm like,
so you're stealing a boat for a Fae, and where does that lead you?
Probably in dangerous waters. I'm gonna say maybe in a storm or some kind of bad weather situation that's a little bit more than he can handle. He's better with cars.
Okay, and so how does that drag one of your compatriots?
That's yeah. I mean, this has been hard. I've been trying to work on this for a day, and it's like,
So does anyone have a suggestion? Basically, Kasara, unfortunately, you cannot participate because you have starred in enough stories. Percy, you still have one. Andy, Harmony, Andy, you have one, and Harmony, you still have two.
It could be a riverboat.
Nikki also has one.
Yeah, it could be upriver too, which would put it in that forest area.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did we decide that Nikki lives near that lake and river type area?
Well, she works there. She can live in town. She can live.
I was thinking I live in town.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
I was gonna say
you
you might be near there when the boat theft happens.
Yeah, I'm not 100% married to the boat idea, but I just want to do something odd. He had to steal a thing for the Fae.
Okay, so you have to steal a boat for the Fae. Maybe the reason you had to steal. So let's think. Why did you have to steal the boat for the Fae? And then we can maybe either rope in Nikki or Harmony because of that reason.
Or he's stealing it from a Fae.
Or I mean, you could be stealing it from winter for summer because technically you're trying to keep off summer's roll call, right?
Yeah. I'm just. Why would they want a thing? Why would they want a boat? What's on the boat?
That was gonna be like what's on the boat. So maybe there was they were using the boat to transport something from point A to point B, and they told you to steal the boat, and you got blown off course because of the storm, and then you shipwrecked. There we go. You shipwrecked, and you found the thing, and you're like, what is this MacGuffin? I don't like this. And you had to find someone who could tell you what the MacGuffin was, and maybe that's where Harmony comes in because she's a researcher, and it has weird writing on it.
What if it's a sapling?
Like a tree?
Like a weird, maybe a never, some kind of weird tree.
Weird sapling, and it has like runic writing in it. So
maybe maybe the pot is like this, like old Etruscan whatever. It's got rune writing and painting and stuff.
And you as a changeling can use the internet, and so you find out that Harmony, so and so at the University of Southern Maine is an expert in ancient languages, and so Harmony. Okay, so steal the boat with the Fae. boat shipwrecked and found a pot with a tree.
Maybe he didn't even have to wreck it. Maybe he just got curious and found it and decided to blow off the meat.
So
That's the kind of crap that he would get into.
So that's up to you, I guess. I mean, obviously, right? Did you shipwreck or did you peak?
He peaked.
Okay.
He's going to get himself into that kind of trouble.
So peaked at the cargo.
Because what that's the whole time he's stealing this boat. It's like, why the heck would they want this freaking boat?
Don't you know the rules of transporting? Don't look at the package.
This makes about as much sense as pants on an ostrich, and I'm curious.
So what if the sapling, since we've gone with like some kind of runic sapling, what if it's so the wild fae are unaligned? What if this is some wild fae thing that Summer is trying to take to expand its power?
I like that a lot.
And yes, and
so now that we know what it is, we have to sort of decide what we're going to do with it.
And help needed a linguist to help figure out what it was. Harmony helped deduce that this thing was wild fae in origin and was faced with a choice. Okay, so where does that choice lead y'all?
Well, I'm thinking it may lead us out to the woods to Nikki, but that is up to her. Cole's the kind of guy that would give that back to the wild fae and screw the trouble it's going to get him with Summer.
So we take it out into the woods to give it back to the wild fae and run into Nikki en route somehow?
That's a possibility. The thing is that, yeah, like, it's not technically my forest ranger jurisdiction, sorry. But I could also just be doing something to help out the wild fae in that area or something too.
I mean, if you're familiar with the forests and the woods around Portland, then you probably at least know some wild fae.
And maybe Nikki got word that some shenanigans was going down and was on the lookout for why this delivery that was scheduled to come through didn't come through properly. And that's when you ran into her. And either she helps you find the wild fae because you have a connection to the wild fae, which could be an aspect you could draw from this, or y'all throw down with some not changelings, but some fairies who come after you because you've stolen the thing that you weren't supposed to. You stole the thing.
You weren't supposed to look in the trunk.
And you weren't supposed to look at the trunk. And so you stole it from the people that you were trying to deliver the stolen goods to, and it was complications. So it's up to you guys. I'll leave that up to you guys.
Well, Cole, it's your story. So how do you want this to end?
Hi. I would like it to end without me being in trouble with anyone, but that's probably not going to happen. So
let me consult my magic 8-ball. Yeah, that's not what's going to happen.
No, pretty much. I'd rather be in trouble with Summer than the wild fae. There's fewer of them, and I'm already used to dodging them anyway.
Same. Well, they're more prominent here. I don't want to screw with them.
Okay, so the question becomes, Nikki, do you help fend off pursuers, or do you have an in with the wild fae, given your forestry jobs and your family's history in the area?
Yeah, I definitely know, like, a guy. I know a guy for sure.
You have connections in the wild fae court. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And she helps.
Can you be friends with the wild fae?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Nikki's family would most definitely be friends because they are hunters, and the wild fae are pretty hunter related. Like the Earl King is essentially, for lack of a better word, the king of the wild fae, specifically the goblins and the leader of the wild hunt.
Yeah.
I get the feeling you could be friends with a wild fae, and then the next wild fae, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's if you're okay with Summer, then the whole court is like, well, if the queen says you're all right, you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the local goblin tribe that is subservient to the Earl King, and therefore you are able to essentially return this sapling to whence it was supposed to go.
Cool.
among a local wild fey goblin tribe. Goblins in the Dresden verse are scary as F. They are not silly green monsters. They are cutthroat murderers, for those of you watching at home. All right. So I kind of think I know what Nikki's aspect's going to be. But first, we start with Cole.
Oh, man. Jeez.
What's in the box?
I love that. That's one option. I was also thinking maybe something with like trying to play on the cloud with silver linings. You look for like some like you were faced with a choice, like complete the job or kind of be a better person and return the stolen property,
Right.
which is a little bit against your nature. So this would give you an aspect to kind of start maybe, if you want to, occasionally invoke the ability to go against your greater nature.
What if it was like rogue with a heart of gold or something like that?
Are you better angels or?
Yeah.
I thought of the phrase "looking for an out."
Looking for an out. Okay, that works.
That it basically he's not just aware of his exits when he can, but sometimes that he'll, he gets in a bad situation, he's going to look for the
way to
looking
solve
for
it.
How about looking for a good out?
I like that. Looking for a good out. Okay. That brings us to Harmony. So clearly you have some Fey knowledge.
Yes. So I am considering, and Cole, you tell me if this is okay, that maybe when Cole brought this item and Harmony's like, oh yeah, this is, a wild Fey thing. Cole didn't exactly tell her 100% with honesty where he got it. And so I would like to say that this is, accidental enemy of summer. So in the process of returning this, that I act, I defended us against the people who were chasing us. And then I'm like, holy shit, Cole, you didn't tell me they were summer Fae.
You didn't ask.
And now someone in summer definitely bears me a grudge now. Thanks for that, Cole.
Yeah. Earn Summer's ire or something along those aspects. Yeah, I like that. Definitely.
Which could still be good in the sense that I could probably get a nice in the winter court.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you could have social bonuses when dealing with winter, and even wild Fae, right? Because you earn this ire by crossing summer, so the wild Fae goblin tribes will probably look more favorably on you. But it's definitely gonna not at all be a problem if the summer come calling.
Not at all. Nope.
Okay.
Which they totally won't do.
Nope.
Yeah, never. Fairies don't call back on debts.
Excellent.
I'll give you that idea.
I love it. Okay, and so Nikki, are you going with the in with a goblin or something like that, or are you doing something else?
I was thinking that maybe he's like a family friend. He's almost like Uncle so-and-so. Like he's not actually an uncle, but he's like
I absolutely
around so much that we are like family friends overall.
So
now I have to think of a name.
Yeah, give your goblin a friend. Give your goblin uncle a name.
I love that you could adopted a goblin uncle.
Yep. That's pretty. Yeah, and like I said, like goblins in the Dresden verse are like murderers. Like they're very vicious creatures that are just straight up lethal. And you have one as an uncle. I love it. This will not at all go bad. Yeah, so that will allow you to also have an in with some of the local wild fae. Obviously, as we just discussed, not all wild fae fall under the same banner. All right, so that leaves us with Kasara or Nikki. So, Cole, who are you nominating?
I'm gonna say let's do Nikki's.
Oh shit. Okay.
or Kasara, sure.
I've got an idea that will work no matter who's left to attach to the story. Like, it's a pretty open option.
Okay, sure.
Because I've been thinking about this for a bit now. So I think, yeah. So do Nikki and then whoever we still need to connect. I've got a good idea, I think. So
Excellent. All right. So
I also named him Uncle Garg, just to let you know.
Uncle Garg.
Garg.
Guards your
Yes. Beautiful.
That's a goblin-y name.
Can we have a Thanksgiving episode where he shows up, please?
That may or may not be the last episode we have, depending on what happens.
Oh,
Big
good.
family dinner.
What is Nikki's first story?
My first story.
Yep.
I'm wanting to say it's probably when I'm really young. Like, because I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm also not old in age, but just been doing my werewolfiness for a while. So maybe it's almost like a practice hunt or something where I have to kind of just do this on my own. They just kind of say, hey, there's this thing, you need to hunt it and kill it, and that's your mission. Like a rite of passage kind of situation.
Okay. So maybe it is a rite of passage, or your first solo hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it go wrong? And why do you need to draw upon other people? So obvious other people to draw on are Andy, because Andy is one of the oldest members of the community here, and he's been here the longest. This could be how you meet Kasara, although no, Kasara's already got 2, so she can't come into the picture. This could be how you meet let's see, Harmony, Percy, or Cole.
Okay, so maybe it's find a certain creature that has been killing stuff in the area that was smuggled in, so that way Cole fits in, and so that way I think that would just be fun to have something really different and not have to draw upon the wizard in that for help in that scenario.
Okay, so find a creature that is smuggled in and have to turn to the smuggler. And Cole, this might have actually also be like the first time you come to town, like, or very, very soon after you get to town. Turn to Cole, who's familiar with the underworld. All right, so you tracking a creature. It's been smuggled in. You need someone who knows anything about smuggling, so that leads you to Cole. And Cole, you are able to have a contact. And able to have contact that leads you to this thing. Do the thing. I'll just say the thing.
So it has not been named yet.
How does it go wrong from there?
It knows we're coming. It spots us coming or something. It is able to. It knows that somebody's tracking it. Or
Ghost moose are wily like that.
Okay.
It could be the ghost moose. That would be hilarious if it's the ghost moose. They're like, yeah, there's this urban legend that it's the joke rite of passage. It's the bullshit, like, it's not actually real. It's not a real thing that you can actually hunt, but you need to find this thing and do that.
So
And it's not supposed to go wrong, but it does.
Your family sent you on a snipe hunt. Turns out you found the snipe.
Now what?
And it is real. And Cole, you and Cole find it, and you realize, oh, we need some kind of magical help. So that means Andy or Harmony can come into the picture, or even Percy maybe, because it's a ghost moose. So maybe you could even petition Percy. Though timing wise, if this is your first hunt, Percy might not quite be there yet. Since Percy's the last person to town essentially.
So we might have to go with Mr. Andy Wells.
So it could be Andy. And so Andy, what do you reveal? What do you reveal about this ghost moose? So, definitely leads you to the ghost moose, which was supposed to be a snipe hunt. Turns out to be real. turns to Andy, and what does Andy do?
I feel like Andy probably reveals part of what it actually is, because this might be something he's looked into shortly after he got to Portland, after hearing about there's this ghost moose thing. What?
Yeah, so maybe you figure out that maybe there is a thing as a ghost moose, but maybe someone else is creating magical constructs.
Yeah, based on people's perceptions of what they think is out there. So,
and you are able to bust like a local, essentially illusionist, maybe even illusionist con artist, who is using the ghost moose as a distraction. And causing chaos to do something else.
Yeah,
This sounds like a Scooby-Doo plot.
I was about to say.
It's
The
totally
ghost
Scooby-Doo.
moose is someone's Patronus.
Old Man Weathers.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like they set her on this like fake hunt. Like it's funny, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, this is real. Wait, what's happening? This is like too unbelievable. And it just so happened that like she was at the right place at the right time. They don't all have to be terrible.
I dig it.
Yeah, I like the idea of maybe Andy making it corporeal enough that we can drive it back to her pack.
And so she
Be like,
Here's your
ta-da!
moose. Here's your moose.
Yeah, you're able to co-opt the illusion and bust this illusionist.
Yeah,
I like the
dig it.
Scooby-Doo plot. That works really well. Because this is probably like when she's 14, 15.
Oh, geez. Cole
Yeah,
would be
so-
much older.
Well, I at least, I'm thinking I'm probably in like my mid-20s is
Yeah.
where I'm kind of thinking I'm at.
Same thing.
So,
Prove it.
yeah, so that'd make it even funnier because it's just like, what the hell is happening?
Great.
Very much
two,
Scooby-Doo.
two kids and Andy busting the ghost moose ring.
I love that, like, this pack that is super disappointed with you. Also, as a 14-year-old alpha, you brought back something that's not supposed to exist.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's probably people in your pack that, like, aren't disappointed with you and are like, nah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I will say probably the people that when the Cry Wolf aspect was formed, the people that are impressed with you and think that actually you might be onto something are probably the ones that volunteered to come help you.
Yeah.
Because
I like
you did in fact show that, hey, I brought back the ghost moose like ass, motherfuckers. But no, all right, no one else can say the F-bomb because otherwise we're gonna be R-rated.
That was our one.
That was our one.
One.
Okay, so Nikki, what is your aspect that you gained from this?
Minor respect. So that way it
Okay.
falls in with the kind of like I got minor respect from the pack in some way.
Okay.
I don't something a little bit more thematically worded, but
I like it, though a lot of your aspects are pack related, which isn't a bad thing. But I think this might
it could
give you
also
an
be believes in ghosts or something like that because it's like, oh, this is real.
Yeah, I think that's more along the lines of I think what is better, what is a good idea is like it's essentially you literally found a snipe when you weren't supposed to.
Right.
So you are good at finding things you shouldn't be able to find.
It could even
Yeah,
just
there
be
you go.
found the snipe. Couldn't that
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
aspect?
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be.
You're a
like,
particularly good finder.
yeah, the snipe finder or found the snipe.
I like found the snipe.
As a
because-
question... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
How did this affect Nikki's confidence? Because at 14, she did something that's not supposed to be possible. Is she a little bit overconfident now?
I'd say by now she's grown out of it,
Okay.
but probably when she was younger, yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, I found the ghost moose. I am hot shit.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not real? What?
Basically, past the
BS.
Kobayashi Maru. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like the the Kobayashi Maru. That is a perfect example of what I was thinking. Like you're the Kirk of the wolf pack. Like you found the thing you weren't supposed to find. Like you did it. I'm sorry, CJ. I almost killed you. I usually only kill player characters,
so
not players.
good. Now I want to hear you. Now I want to hear your Shatner impersonation. That's all.
Oh my god.
You passed the Kobayashi Aru.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know the pun bard was in this game.
You're cut off. We're done.
we're channeling Pater here. It's fine. All right, so that's a pretty cool aspect, which also plays into the fact that Nikki is a good investigator. Like they literally found the impossible. Like they're a great investigator, giving Percy a run for their money. But that's fine. You two can play off of each other in that way. Like that's perfect. All right. So that leads us to Cole. Cole, what aspect have you drawn from this?
I'm thinking something to do with relying on friends or not pushing people away, because he's very much somebody who would normally run from problems or I don't want to get involved or whatever. But this whole thing, the community is just drawing him in. So
yeah, something like almost like Powered by the Apocalypse, like Bond almost. Like you're starting to form bonds with other people, and it's keeping you in place. So like my friends keep me anchored, or and that's a bad thing too, right? Like my friends keep me anchored, which could mean you can't run away from danger, but also it keeps you grounded so that that you're part of a community.
I also with the whole water fae in his background, I like the anchor imagery too. That's what you get tied to when when they drop you overboard.
Okay, I mean if you're happy with that, we can go with friends keep me
friends
anchored.
Are an anchor.
Friends are an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right. And then lastly, Andy, what aspect are you drawing from this?
I'm not sure. My initial thought was something like been around the block, but I don't know if that's too close. Maybe to everybody calls Andy.
Yeah.
I also had the thought of like Mythbuster, but
I mean, there's something to be said for an aspect of just of how you're a badass wizard too. I mean, you're not Fred Rogers over here. You're Fred Rogers who also throws lightning. So maybe just
He's a Sith Lord, no big deal.
Right.
Like don't mess with I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess some kind of great and terrible Oz sort of thing in there somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you did basically debunked Oz, so you could,
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Let's see here. Well, if we can't nail it down yet, you can ruminate on it.
It'd be like can't pull the wool over my eyes or something like that.
So that's a good one.
That would kind of incorporate the badasseriness of it.
Won't be fooled again.
And then I can compel you when you want to try to run away, be like, oh, you.
Yeah, that's true. So like no wool on my eyes.
That could work.
Okay.
If you want to work on it, if you want to tweak the wording of it, that's fine.
Yeah, I may tweak the wording, but I think I like the sentiment of that for sure.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to Kasara.
And to confirm, so it's Percy and Harmony that are going to get tied into this, right? Perfect.
Yep.
Cool. I have this figured out, and I got really excited as I've been sitting here thinking this through. So from one of the other stories, so obviously I apparently have an issue with clients dying, which
it's just worked out so perfectly.
It's just working out great. Which we learned from the adventure with Andy and Nikki. I'm going to go with that was actually the first time a client died.
Okay.
I'm going to go with by the time I get into with Cole and Percy, that time it's no longer, I'm like, I did say to Percy, that one, this isn't on me. But also, this is probably not like the second time I've had a client die, and I'm getting used to it. If Percy is the last one to have come to town, I'm going to go with this as a fairly new adventure. Because of actually meeting Percy that one time, Kasara finally felt compelled to look into something she was never told to. So Kasara, when she was a teenager, accidentally killed somebody because she is a white court vampire, which for those who aren't familiar with Dresden, they feed off of particular emotions. It always varies on which one. And so her mother finally leveled with her and told her everything. And has also told her, don't go near them. Now, her mother has also made her very aware that there is a particular family of white court vampires in town, the Malvora.
Mhm.
I'm going to say that after meeting Percy and after that whole incident, Kasara has finally decided to start looking into that. There's too many people who have died. She's getting really tired of this. And she wants to start investigating who these people are and if they are the cause of any of this.
So Kasara is going to investigate the White Court in Portland?
Yes. And so she's going to start, she might have realized, like, her mom probably had it pinpointed who some of them were. So she might actually head down to, like, she's probably going to try to hit up some of either, like, the newspaper offices or maybe, like, the local radio station. But she will actually she will try to get a hold of Percy, knowing that they're a PI. And just having probably met you, I'd like, this might even honestly be like a couple of weeks later. And with the idea of, you're a PI, I need your help, but it's going to be kind of weird.
What exactly level of weird are we talking about here?
We're talking kind of supernaturally.
Oh, yeah, good. Okay, yeah, fine, yeah.
That went over far easier than I thought it would.
I mean, I kind of figured there was something up with you because you said a bunch of people died around you, and normally that's not how humans operate.
So I'm gonna say that, yeah, I'll tell you, I'll probably level with you about the Malvora. And basically say that I want to go down and try to, like, spy on them and figure out what their deal is, what they're doing. And maybe if they're, like, specifically killing my clients. Or what?
I have an idea of how I can help with that. The Malvora in Portland in particular feed on a different emotion than normal.
They feed on it. Every house feeds on a different emotion. They definitely feed on a different emotion than me. And they feed on despair.
They feed on despair. Percy, in the 2 weeks, has enough of an information web at this point to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And also knows that based on his past, has enough despair to attract the attention of the Malvora and purposefully begins letting out emotion and gets drunk and lets everything out in a bar. Has Kasara there to, like,
So
hey, please make sure I don't die.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
fate.
Yep.
I'm gonna make myself bait for Malvora. I'm just gonna go get depressed.
And I want to say that, like, something is going to go horribly wrong. And I'm going to say, like, Harmony is fortunately either around or nearby and, like, sees what's going on. And is going to be the one that saves our proverbial butts in this case.
Yes.
This could be at Wilson's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'd say Harmony's probably just, like, in the bar and isn't willing to watch a white court vampire, like,
Eat someone.
Yeah.
And as we've established, Harmony has some oomph behind her magic, and so she can kick ass and take names if she so wishes.
And my favorite part is going to be is if she does, especially with magic. Kasara's never seen magic before.
Just gonna flip her shit. It'll be fun.
Gonna be real fun.
I
yeah.
don't think
Exposure to
Percy
magic.
hasn't.
Harmony has some powerful stuff, including some really good air and earth magic. So not lighting any buildings on fire, but could definitely subdue a vampire.
So we take Percy, get him drunk. White Court and Malvora come over. I'm kind of like, oh god, this is more than I think I bargained for. You jump in, save our butts. I see magic, and I'm like, and I thought what I could do was interesting. Okay, this is new. I would love to talk to you further.
Very cool. All right.
And that, I think, is that story.
Yes, I think that works really well. So, oops. All right. So, Kasara, what aspect do you draw from this?
Oh god, like a reckless idiot or something.
I was thinking something like jumps into the deep end, or like, yeah.
But I was thinking of the story. I'm like, my god, she's just reckless as all get out. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you could even be like tilts at windmills, going from Don Quixote. Like you just go. Like, you don't, like, I want to do this thing.
Full throttle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head first into danger.
Head first into danger. Something along those lines. Yeah.
What's
Reckless.
up, Danger?
Yeah. What's up, Danger? Oh my god.
How you doing, Danger?
That's awesome.
Can I do that? How you doing, Danger? Because that's cute. I
Sure,
think
that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what's up, Danger may be taken, but yeah, how you doing is
How you
probably.
doing, Danger?
That works with the therapist thing too.
It works with Kasara because she's just gonna kind of lean into that little bit of a chaotic flirt. So.
And I assume based on being a wraith that you tend to gravitate towards lust.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Very much.
Just double checking.
Yeah.
That is something you could technically change with like a level up, but at the start,
yeah,
we'll start with lust. Okay.
She's a wraith baby that goes with lust.
Okay,
Which is why she's
so-
also chaotic bisexual and will hit on everything.
So Percy, what do you get other than being snacked on?
Depth of despair. So I can really call on a lot of life experience that, while they are very traumatic for Percy, they also helped him, and he could probably use them in specific instances. Also, because of this despair, while he's in no way throwing his life away, sometimes he does things that aren't the smartest, because what's the worst that can happen? I've already been through XYZ.
Yeah, I like that sentiment. I think depths of despair might be a little bit
Overkill, maybe.
How about?
I was thinking more like galvanized by despair. So you have this huge well of despair, but it serves it's there, like you have despair, but it also serves to like push you forward.
Or like bend to the deep end. Something along those lines, maybe.
I do like
hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Bounced off rock bottom too.
That
bounced off rock bottom.
Bounced off rock bottom
That's
might be pretty good, yeah.
That's good because I can't spell the word galvanized, so.
That's pretty good. Okay, so bounced off rock bottom. I love it. And lastly, but certainly not least, a harmony. What have you gained from this?
So I'm thinking something like basically that is revolves around Harmony's inability to be a passive bystander. Like she can't just watch this happen in front of her, and that's what draws her into getting involved.
Power and responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Great power. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just
All the
going
Spider-Man quotes.
all on Spider-Man.
Just yank the Spider-Man quote. Your friendly neighborhood wizard.
Ooh,
That's really cute.
That's so
though.
good.
I like that.
I like it, but maybe a little bit of a tweak because you're friendly, but maybe your angry neighborhood wizard
Angry
because
neighborhood wizard.
you were like, hell no, boom.
Yeah,
And
pretty much,
actually,
yeah.
Harmony is a very angry person just because of all of her personal issues anyway.
I was gonna go feisty. You're feisty. neighbor.
Yeah,
Feisty
You could go with
neighborhood
feisty
wizard.
as well.
you're
Feisty as well.
feisty neighborhood wizard. I like that.
With the F, the play on the F, yeah, because like it was reminding me of the Dresden one is like quick to anger and not so subtle. Like that's one of his aspects, and so that like kind of that same tweak of that. All right, well, that is the end of character creation, and it's 9:30, so I think that's a pretty good time to take a break. We could take a 10-minute break, reset. Use the washroom, bathroom, restroom, whatever you call it, your local bidet, and then we'll meet back here. Thank you. We'll meet back here, and then we will get into the first not story aspect, and maybe roll some dice. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
and to go.
All right. We are back. Yes, we are back. Awesome. All right. So, for those of you joining us during the break, we have just finished everyone's first story as we are getting ready to play the opening scenes now of our Dresden Files in Portland. The last story is pretty good fodder for the opening scene. As we found, our local White Court therapist, Kasara, decided to try and investigate the actual local White Court family, the Malvora, who in this setting are vampires that feed on despair. And so she got a little bit in over her head with the help of Percy, the ghost-seeing investigator, and they were saved, luckily, by local badass Harmony, who is a pretty strong wizard when it comes to magical muscle. So that assault and battery happened a few days ago, and you're kind of coming down from, holy crap, maybe we almost just died if Harmony hadn't have been there. But the questions still linger. What is the White Court doing in Portland? It is well known, or at least well suspected by the magical community, that the Malvora control much of the news media, especially the bigger channels, as news is pretty depressing. And so it helps to depress people more by telling them depressing news. And so the Malvoras spread their depression that way. So, Kasara, where do we find you several days after these events where you accidentally just jumped headfirst into the water, the deep end of Portland?
Whoops. I'm gonna go with it's outside of office hours. So after work, because she hasn't been able to shake this whole, okay, so magic is real. And it's still, so she's probably headed back to, because we were at Wilson's, right? She's actually going to probably head back to kind of the scene of the crime. And she's probably actually spent a lot of evenings there to either try to run into Harmony again or to run into somebody else that she can then figure out what magic is, figure this out. And interrogate someone kind of.
Okay. Harmony, are you there?
Yeah, I'm probably not there the first night or two that Kasara goes, because Harmony feels a little bit bad that she sort of disturbed the peace. But maybe on the third or fourth night you go, you see Harmony sitting alone at a table, neck deep in books that I brought with me from the university that I'm writing a translation that I'm working on or something, and just sipping a margarita or something. I don't know what kind of drinks Wilson's has, but
they can definitely have margaritas.
Wonderful. Upon walking in and seeing, okay, she's here. All right. She's just gonna kind of saunter on over and I'm gonna hope that you chose a table that actually has more than one seat, or you didn't get rid of all the rest of the chairs of that table.
I would say they don't usually make tables that have fewer than 2 seats. So Harmony's probably at a 2-seater table,
yeah.
Which means there is one remaining chair. But for the sake of hilarity, there's probably books on it.
Probably. Mm-hmm. So she's going to actually just kind of go up to the table, and this could get hilariously awkward very soon. And kind of lean almost on the book pile. She probably slips at one point because she almost knocks down a book because of how they're placed and everything.
Precariously stacked.
But she's attempting here. Hi, I don't know if you remember me, but you kind of saved my life the other day.
So I'll look up from what I'm doing, and Well, more the life of your friend, really. You weren't.
Well, I mean both of us. Um, how can I thank you? Can I get you a drink? Do you mind if I have a lot of questions. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I could always use a refresher on my margarita.
Wonderful. I'll be right back. And she'll go kind of walk over to bar and order 2 margaritas, and then kind of casually she'll make her way back, and she'll do the whole like can't sit down because there's books on the chair. How do I make this work? Can I sit with? And she's gonna try. You'll see her struggle to try to sit on the chair while the books are still on there. She could like just sit on the edge of it somehow.
I make no move to move the books or tell you that it's okay for you to move the books. Just content to watch you struggle for a minute.
That sounds right. So she, like by the end of this, she's probably like half on the chair, kind of like leaning with, depending on how high the books are, she's trying to like put an arm on top of it a little bit. It's become like an armrest.
Perfect.
So you can do magic.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the incident a couple nights ago displayed that quite adequately.
I have never seen such a thing. I've seen some weird things. But what do you know about what happened the other night? What do you know about the White Court?
Out of character for a moment. Adam, I've never played Fate before, so I don't like, is there, how would I know sort of what I know about the White Court?
So that would mostly, for magical knowledge and know-how, that usually runs off of your lore skill.
Okay.
So your lore skill, being a wizard, is pretty high.
Yep, it's great.
Yeah, so it's great. So knowing facts about like white courts and things, that's not something I would have you roll about. You're a wizard, you're super clued in, you have the information that you would essentially, you don't have quite the information that Danielle has from reading the books, but you know much of
I
what
know, like the basics of the different houses and like what they feed
yeah
on.
you would know they're different houses. You know that they're emotion vampires. You would know that they're actually, you would also know, because your lore is that high and your contacts aren't just 0, you would know, you've heard rumblings that there has recently been some kind of shift in power in the White Courts. Something happened recently. You're not sure what, because it didn't happen locally, but something happened. And for those of you at home, we are playing right around the time that the book White Knight came out. So, yeah.
Okay, so in that case, I'll say, do you know anything about vampires at all?
Sorry, I'm kind of laughing at this. I mean, I think they're the cause of some deaths in my clientele lately.
I mean, that could be. They are, they feed on emotion. So presumably anyone who's in therapy would be like a buffet for them.
Especially considering some of mine, yes. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this a little bit for my own business sake. It isn't good to be losing so many clients.
Yeah, I can see where it would be hard to make any money as a therapist if your customers are all dead.
Yeah, it's also less reviews, so less referrals this way too. The dead can't refer my services, so I'm just hoping to learn something maybe, or perhaps get your help in looking into this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, probably have to be kind of careful. There's a bit of an uneasy truth going on here, and I don't really want to bring an entire house of white court vampires down on my head. Got enough
No.
problems.
No, I understand. I don't want that either. If it's
But
maybe just one of them or something, I don't know.
but I mean, I would definitely. I don't want to see your clients die either. That's not okay. So, I mean, have any of them died recently?
Thinks back to like 2 weeks ago. What was it, Cole and Percy?
Yep.
You just see this like flashback. Unfortunately, yes. One of them, it's how I met actually my friend from the other night. He was investigating something. I realized it may have something to do with my client. And then he suddenly turned up dead.
Okay. I mean, was there any evidence or indication that he had been fed on to death? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've met Percy before. Was Percy able to find any indication?
Actually, I don't remember from the story. Did Percy figure out anything about how he died, or is it just we decided the guy was dead?
For this, if I get to choose because it was my story, he was killed mundanely. He was shot.
Okay.
But it could have been a supernatural just trying to make it look more mundane,
Yeah.
if you want that way.
Well, that's how she's gonna take this one.
Vampires are allowed to buy guns.
Yes.
Yeah. Vampires also
America.
are. I mean, it's hard to say if there was anything really weird about it. Percy didn't mention if it was anything supernatural necessarily. It seemed to be a simple gunshot, but I mean, anything's possible.
Well, then, how are you planning to go about your little investigation?
I figure if I don't know, follow around perhaps some of anyone who might be known to be a white court vampire, perhaps I can gain insight and get an idea of maybe they're all meeting somewhere. That actually might be a lot of trouble. That's still something that sounds like me. I'm hoping that if I can get a lead by watching one of them, or even just seeing. I've got too many clients. I can't just follow them around. Also, that would be unethical.
Of course. Adam, do I with my contacts being what they are, like, do I know of any white court vampires?
I would say.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let me compare some things here. I would say your contacts probably aren't strong enough to know white court vampires, but you know somebody who might. You actually know two people, right? Because you know a person who's trying to get into your good graces, and you know the other wizard in town might know more.
Well, look, I'm a bit new here still. I've only been here for a year or two, so I'm not even going to pretend like I know everybody in town at this point. So if you really want to know, you want to find a white court vampire here, I think you're going to need to go to someone who's been here for quite a while. But I have a friend who would probably be willing to help. And he's been here for quite some time. So if anyone knows a white court vampire in this town, it's him.
Wonderful. Would you mind, please, connecting me with them? I may try to start some sort of, I don't know, meetup and perhaps bring Percy back in and see if there's anybody you know that might be able to help.
Well, why don't we go talk to Andy? Because I don't think Andy would be happy if he knew that there were white court vampires preying on people. So just give me a second to pack up these books, and we'll go see Andy.
Wonderful.
And give me a second, like turns into 20 minutes.
It's all good.
Yeah. But Andy, where do you live?
We're gonna figure this out.
Andy probably lives. I haven't actually taken a look at a map of Portland, but
So fun thing.
Okay.
Because we can do this. There are 2 maps that I have uploaded for not. Unfortunately, the people at home can't see this, but you all can. So I can share. Oops, that's not. So I share this one. So that's one map of the area, and then this map gives you a sense of essentially what the neighborhoods look like.
okay. I see.
Nice.
Nice. Andy probably lives in an older part of Portland, just partly because of how long he's been here. And because it's probably was cheaper at the time when he got here to move into that part of town. So I don't actually know what part that might be, but I would guess he lives near-ish the center of town.
Maybe like a historical building in downtown.
Yeah, something with old electricity, like old wiring, and like something I'm not likely to break just by living there.
To be perfectly honest, Harmony probably has to live there too, not out of choice, but
that is a way to do it. Yeah, that's maybe
That of practicality.
Yeah, there aren't too many old gas heat houses in Portland anymore, and you basically are letting Harmony sublet a room in your house.
Oh, yeah, that could be. So you would know exactly where I live.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. Upstairs.
Right.
One of us gets the basement, one gets the attic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of the old port buildings and stuff. They've renovated them and made them new, and they're into hip shops now. But if you had one since the 70s, like renovated, no.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a duplex.
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah.
Those were popular for a while.
Yeah.
A little brownstone. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I think that we're not literally roommates, but we live like right next to each other. Or
yeah, maybe originally you had one side as your lab and one side and office for writing and the other side for your home. And then when Harmony came to town, you're like, fine, I'll move things. Like the dad took over, right?
Right.
I can't have you living on the street.
Yeah, you won't find anywhere else to live that's gonna be able to survive you. So
Trust me, I've checked.
make room. It's fine.
Okay. So in that case, Kasara, I will lead you across town from wherever Wilson's is to our duplex.
Wonderful.
In downtown, and when we get there, I'll turn around and be like, can you wait here for 1 second? I'm just gonna put the books away. They're not mine, and I really don't want to. I just want to put them away real quick. I'll be right back.
Of course.
And I'll go in one side of the duplex, like drop all my books, gently, and then come back out of the duplex. Be like, okay, we can go, and then literally just walk down the steps, walk around the gate, and walk back up the steps on the other side.
As I'm following, at one point there's a moment of like, just trying to.
Okay.
Oh, praise it.
Okay.
And I'll knock on the door. Andy.
Like I let it go for a few seconds because I'm writing and trying to get to the end of a sentence.
Andy.
Hang on. And then eventually I'll, like, a minute or two, not a super long time,
Sure.
get up and go open the door. Like, I know it's Harmony, but I still don't undo the chain first. So I just.
What has she gotten herself into
Yeah.
now?
What is it? What did she bring to my doorstep?
So I open the door partially to like look first.
I just sort of like put my head up against the crack. It's probably not the first time you've done this.
No.
And put my face up to the crack. Andy.
Yes.
This woman thinks that she's a therapist, and she thinks that her customers are being eaten by the white cord.
She's gonna wave and be like, "We met
Yes.
previously
We did. Some
with
years
Nikki."
ago. White cord, huh?
Wait, can you do magic?
Just look from her back to Harmony. Like, yeah. Okay, this is one of the. Okay, just a second. I'll close the door, undo the chain, open it all the way, and just like step aside. Come in.
I'll march right over the threshold.
Yeah. Please, doctor.
Kasara. Cass is fine.
Please come in, Cass.
And I'll walk in.
Okay. And I will shut and relock the door. And like his living room is a little cluttered. There's like a nice sofa and a coffee table, and there's a couple of books and like some open notebooks and things that like I've been scribbling just like magical formulas for stuff in, and also ideas for books, things.
I will sit down on a couch near one of these notebooks and sort of not very discreetly look at it.
So you
Also
use paper to
probably
write,
something I've
or do
done.
you use a typewriter?
Yeah. I use a typewriter.
Oh, okay. I'm so happy that you use a typewriter.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's upstairs, probably, or in an office or something. But there's like a couple of chairs and things. There's no TV, because of course there's not. It would just explode. Not that Cass might know that yet. Can I get you either of you anything to drink? I have coffee brewing.
I'll have a cup of coffee. Been a long day.
How many have you had?
Well, I mean, 4, but that was this morning.
That was before the margaritas.
That was before the margaritas.
Before, oh, okay. It's one of those days. All right.
Gotta go up, then go down, then go back up again. It's just how this works.
Great. Cass, did you need anything drink-wise before we get into apparently everything else?
Coffee would be lovely.
Okay. Come out with 2, 3, because I have my own mugs of coffee. And then take a seat. All right.
Cass is gonna like lean against a wall or something, because she's not sure. This has been weird. You were around when the first client died, so she's like putting things together right now.
Meanwhile, I'm curled up on the couch, like I've been here a million times before.
Yeah.
This is fine.
I'm sitting in like a lazy boy chair. Okay, so you asked, so there was a whole lot at the door at once. So we've got white court, great. And then you asked if I could do magic. I don't know where you would like to begin because neither of those places is easy, but so I'll leave it to you.
The magic one is also difficult. I only learned that was a thing a few days ago.
Oh, Andy, I should probably tell you. I don't think I've told you this yet. So I may have used magic recently to
a few days ago.
Yeah. To save Percy. You met Percy, right?
I have met Percy.
There was
But you know Percy as well.
We've met.
That is 100%
Cass
the
is
accurate
doing,
tone.
Yeah,
Cass is
that
doing
was
like
the
6 degrees of Cass right now. She's like, what?
Percy was in danger of being fed on by a white court. Well, was being fed on by a white court vampire, probably a Malvora. And I mean, you wouldn't stand for that if you saw it. So I may have restrained the vampire so that they could get away. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't burn anything down.
That's preferable. Okay. And you did this where?
I mean, it was in an alley.
It was in an alley. Oh, good. Okay. Well, did the vampire like get a look at you first? Could the Malvora identify you?
Possibly. It was
Harmony.
dark, but I, to be honest, was not thinking about that at the time. But clearly, Kasara here was able to identify me. So,
Well, luckily for us, Kasara is not a white court vampire, so that's not really an issue.
yeah, you're right. That's good. I mean, but that does probably mean the white court vampire
Kasara's quiet during that.
Chokes on her coffee. Just
Just a
I'm fine.
mess.
I'm fine.
Down the wrong way.
Well, I'm sorry that you got brought into this world this way. Why did this even why was Percy being fed on in the first, like, how did all of this even happen?
So you remember that time when I met you?
Yeah, vividly.
That was the first time one of my clients died.
First time. Okay.
The GM interjects here. Is that true?
My previous the people that I'm responsible for killing were not clients.
Okay, I'm out. Keep going. You're fine. You're doing great.
That's just why she doesn't get into relationships now.
You guys are digging your own holes perfectly well without me. So keep going.
But no, yeah, it wasn't. No.
First time. That's not a qualifier I'm thrilled about hearing, but okay.
Yes, unfortunately, and actually how I met Percy was when another client of mine had mysteriously passed away. And honestly, I am just very tired of losing clientele like this. It's not good for business. It's not good for even me emotionally as a human. There's Natalie laughing.
I'm also obviously carefully not looking like you in the eye. I'm looking at like your nose or your forehead or something.
And so I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. I have been somewhat clued into the supernatural, but not to the extent of obviously either of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeking help. And my last help got drunk and almost got eaten by a vampire, so.
Okay, so that.
So before we go any further, Kasara,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to roll a deceit check, and the two of you can defend with, I believe, either rapport or empathy.
I have neither of those.
I'm gonna roll this in the thing. I just click the number.
Yeah, you should just be able to double click the number in your skill.
I'm going to use rapport because my rapport is higher.
I have neither, so what do I do?
There we go.
So you can roll any skill you do not have trained in rolls at mediocre. So you can just roll 4 dice and see what happens.
All right, so random.
But Kasara's deceit skill
It's a
is pretty strong. It's pretty strong. So
Yeah, that's pretty good.
oh wow! I mean, that was a hell of a mediocre roll. But the two of you believe the hell out of Kasara. You currently think that she is a super mundane human that is not at all a White Court vampire.
Great.
So okay, so your clients have continued to die. That my condolences. I'm sure that's very difficult.
It's been hard lately. I mean,
Still
everybody
doesn't
needs therapy, but we're all dealing with something.
yeah. Still doesn't explain the vampires coming into this.
Well, you see, as a therapist, I deal with a lot of unfortunate individuals who are going through things and are therefore very sad, very lonely, and very much feeling despair.
So the Malvoras are using you to find targets.
Possibly.
And Harmony, I guess, is that what you put together?
Well, yeah, that was sort of my thought, and she wanted to know if there was a Malvora or any White Court vampire really that she could maybe follow or try to get some more information. And I don't know any White Court vampires, but I thought maybe you might.
Wait, you asked if she knew any Malvoras?
What? No.
I asked if she. I mostly wanted. I've been looking for help.
Okay.
She just asked if I knew a White Court vampire.
Oh, how did you learn what they are?
I've run into some very interesting individuals in my time and in my career.
Well, yeah, you have. I remember meeting you.
Checks out.
So I don't know what Harmony has told you, but we are both wizards,
Okay.
which sounds like you found out was a thing either a few nights ago or just now.
I mean, I guess fantasy novels, but I've never thought that was real. And so
It is. It's
Huh.
not quite Harry Potter, but magic. Yeah.
So
We can give you the rundown.
I mean, she was able to do. Ooh, yeah, no, it was wild.
Oh yeah, wild. It's certainly a variety of magic that Harmony is good at.
Yeah.
We do some similar magic, but everyone, it's personal. Everyone does it a little differently.
Oh, how do you do it?
Stick around long enough and you'll see.
All right.
So the White
Take a
Court.
long sip of the coffee.
So I think that kind of finishes because you're gonna start going to figuring out who you are. So as far as the scene goes, I think that is a really good place to transition and fade away to Percy.
I would love to kind of help me bridge the scene that I think Percy would be in right now, if you're okay with this, GM. They mentioned my name a few times. If they could give me a call just to make sure everything's okay. I think wizards can use rotary phones. Yes? No?
Mm-hmm. They can.
Okay. So if he has a rotary phone and you've mentioned my name and that I got drunk and fed on and all of that, if somewhere in the conversation they were like, we should check on him.
He's not dead, right?
Yeah, has anyone seen him since then? No. Okay, we should probably call him.
And that could be an excellent, that could be an excellent connecting of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will ask you before Andy makes his phone call, where are you right now?
I kind of wanted that to be the surprise, but
okay.
I'm
okay. We can do that. It's fine. I'm okay with
if possible, and if CJ is okay with it, I would love to be in a car with CJ at the moment.
Absolutely.
Passenger seat, CJ in the driver's seat.
Cole be driving around.
Perfect. So yeah, the scene will pick up with Andy basically be like, wait, has anyone seen Andy? Has anyone seen Percy? No. Making a phone call.
Yeah, hello. Hi. Yeah. Hi.
You are indeed alive. That's good. This is Andy, by the way.
Why would I not be alive? And what?
Apparently,
Not gonna catch me.
apparently, you ran into a vampire the other night. So
Harmony
making-
or Cass?
yes,
Oh. Is Cass there?
Mhm. She is.
Can you pass the phone?
One more silver
Yes.
dollar.
Okay.
Cass,
Not gonna get it.
he would like to talk to you.
Okay.
Y'all okay over there?
Hey, Cass, hi. Remember that guy from a couple days ago?
Not gonna catch
Yes.
the midnight.
I thought it'd be a good idea to tail him.
You are one step ahead of me.
Yeah, I don't know if you've met my friend Cole, but we've been kind of circling around this building a few times. He went in like an hour ago. I might be made. Could you come get me?
Wait, what?
As this is
When
going
did
on,
we get made?
Harmony goes, wait a minute, is that Cole? Cole, I'm still mad at you.
Wait.
Not my fault.
So I would like both Andy and Harmony to roll discipline checks, please.
All right, how do I do this?
So you should be able to go to your character sheet
Yep.
and just double click on the number 4. Okay. You both do not hex the shit out of the phone for being really
Great.
angry and upset and annoyed.
Just crackles a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
There's
might
definitely
crackle a little.
But
Okay.
Casaria like, whoa, and someone goes, "Wah!" And it drops a little bit. It doesn't drop the call, but there's definitely a moment of silence on Percy.
Going through a tunnel.
Yeah.
Kasara looks at at Andy and Harmony, looks at the phone, and right. I remember Cole. Apparently, so does Harmony. This is interesting. Where are you?
Hey, GM, where am I?
It's a good question. I will say, if we're looking at that map, just as a general, not the neighborhood map, but the area map. It's not opening for me. There we go. Essentially, you're kind of drifting into the Parkside area.
Okay.
And if you Googled it, you actually know that Parkside is like the red light district of Portland, or its equivalent. So it's kind of a shady area. It's higher crime rate than normal for a small town like Portland. So yeah, you're outside of some like row housing, like local housing, and you've been circling the block to try and see why they went into this house.
Yeah,
Not far from where I'm staying, probably.
every time I circle this one house, there's a lot more people for me to talk to. And they went into a specific house.
Oh,
Something's going on. If you could bring as much backup as possible, that'd be great.
I will.
Backup? What are you planning on doing?
And that, like when you say, when I hear that from Cole, I'm like, we'll be there soon, and she'll hang up.
Click. Hey, thanks for
The
letting me
hell,
use your
son?
phone. By the way, this wasn't a joyride,
Oh, really?
but thanks for helping out. I owe you one.
No, sure. Happy to. I am happy as a pig in mud to help you out of this predicament.
You're probably going to want to park around the block until they get here.
You think? We may have to take a different car home.
Do you know anyone
It's
who
gonna
can help
take a
out
while
here?
for them to get there too.
Yeah.
Not too long.
Wizards.
Luckily, Portland is not that big.
I was thinking more wizards than.
Fair.
We live
Dressed
downtown.
up wizard.
Parkside's not that far from where we live.
No, it's only like a mile or two. Maybe 3 at the most. So before we converge, Nikki,
Yep.
why are you in Parkside?
I was gonna call her. Actually, it was gonna be my next plan.
Oh, I'd
Okay,
like her
go
to
for
be
it.
in there though. That's great.
I was gonna look at Andy. Right. So we need to go to Parkside, but do you mind if I use your phone first?
We need.
Yes.
Well,
For Percy.
technically, Kasara, you could have a cell phone.
Oh yeah, true.
Right. It
And I have
might
a
not
cell
work
phone
in
too.
here, but
Might not work.
Yeah,
Right.
but based on the how this had that phone had gone, she just thinks it's easier to.
Okay.
Something's weird. She's starting to put 2 and 2 together.
yes, you can use. Please make yourself at home.
She'll still pull out her cell phone because she's got to look up Nikki's number.
You might want to, if you're going to use that, go outside.
Oh, I'm just looking up a number. Well,
Yeah, you might still want to go outside. Wizards and technology don't mix well.
all right then.
The more you know.
Yeah. At all.
At all. She'll go outside, just outside the door, check Nikki's number, kind of grabs a pen, scribbles it on her hand, and then turns off the phone because now she's just worried about it. Puts it in her pocket and then goes to the phone and we'll ring up Nikki.
Hello?
Hey Nikki, it's Cass.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, remember that time when the first time we found one of my clients dead, and you were with this guy, the writer?
Well, he and I kind of found out, and we just kind of came and asked you about it.
Yeah, I'm at his house right now.
Why are you at his house?
It's a long story, an even longer story. Can you meet us in Parkside? I need help.
That was out of character. Yeah. Can you text me the address?
Yes, in a couple of minutes, when I get far away, I will. I shall say that actually like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I get far away. Ooh.
I'll text it to you.
Okay, cool. I'll meet you at Parkside.
Perfect. Thank you, Ann. Hangs up. I'm gonna go outside for 5 minutes, use my cell phone real quick, and then we'll get going.
That's probably
Great.
yeah.
And then
Which gives the wizards time to gear up with their.
Okay. So we'll say again, for the purposes of the scene, that you all converge and roll up on this strange house that is somewhere in Parkside and is not at all spooky as hell. So that means Adam gets to do crappy drawing 101.
Woo! I was told to bring backup. I got all the backup I know. I just don't realize what they can do.
You might see shortly.
Yes. Please
So
bring as
wait
much
for
wizard
Kasara.
and werewolf backup as you have. Thank you.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that yet.
I don't know she's a werewolf.
right.
That's my. Yeah.
Oh,
She
wait.
has.
I brought you two
Why would
wizards
you, a
and my best
perfectly
friend.
human therapist, know that she's a
No reason for knowing that.
Let's see how many zones. So, all right. So I'm gonna.
So are we storming this house, Percy? Because
No, I don't really do storming of houses.
thank you.
But
So
we're about to storm a
appreciate
house.
Yeah. We're about to-
I don't do storming of houses.
So this is like the neighborhood, so to speak. So this
Sure.
is the super detailed, accurate
Beautiful. Stunning.
road, and so this is like a four-way stop over here. Essentially, as far as you know, there is. So I will put one here. Oh, actually, you know what? I can do this instead. I think I have tokens. I might not have tokens. I I have no tokens. God damn it. I'll fix that for next time.
Okay.
So that's one. So zone 1 is essentially the street outside.
Sure.
And zone 2 is the house. At least the first floor. It's a 2-story house. So presumably zone 3 could be the second story of the. And if you'll remember, you might not. So that's why we're reviewing it. Zones work. Movement works in Fate from zone to zone. So you can, as a supplemental action, switch zones. So singular, so one zone to one zone. Unless there's something in your way, then you might have to do some kind of skill challenge. You can sprint multiple zones using an athletics check, but given the fact that there aren't many zones, probably won't have to do a lot of sprinting. We'll say for the purposes of this, you all essentially kind of met up here. So that's kind of what the scene is. Definite. So now I get to do, where's notes? So it's not foggy, so I'm going to delete that note. But notes or aspects, scene aspects. It is definitely broad daylight. So
Great.
keeping that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But you also know you're in a bad neighborhood. So that might be things you could take advantage of. So what's your all plan?
I look at Percy. Yes, the plan. We'd all like to hear this.
We're all together now, correct?
Yeah, so
Correct.
essentially you've all met and you kind of know, you like, based on your interwoven story, you basically all know each other.
Yeah. No, because I hit everybody, I realized, through being which stories I was in. So it's
I don't think I know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so sorry, Nick. I can't remember
Percy.
your name.
And I don't know
Percy.
Nikki either. Which
Yeah,
is,
we don't know each other.
I don't know Cole.
oh, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna do a quick run of introductions.
Well, I mean, we could have done that too,
Yeah.
but
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that could have been.
Yeah.
So that house there
Right.
is filled with dead people. Would be my
Okay, when you
scientific
say-
assessment of that.
when you say dead people,
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah, him and
so there's a lot of ways that could be interpreted. Would you
Agreed.
get more specific?
Spirits, necromancy.
Do
Tall,
we know-
spectral, and handsome.
Say that again?
Tall, spectral, and handsome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are they just loitering?
They seem mad.
Oh,
and,
good.
Full of despair.
that would try.
Well, I look over at Kasara. I'm like, well, you might get your wish.
Wait.
Are you-
Wait, what are we doing here? Like, what?
Percy
You told
brought
me.
us.
Like, what's?
Percy brought us to the creepiest
yeah.
haunted mansion ride at Disney World.
Cass wanted me to help look something up with the what did you call them again? The things that you were.
The Malvora.
Yeah.
The White Court vampire. There are. So, Nikki, you know how my clients just keep dying on me lately?
Yeah. That's been a pretty odd occurrence.
And so I've been kind of looking into it. Because
Okay.
that's how I met Percy, actually, was he, long story short, got intertwined with one of my, unfortunately now deceased clients. And so I decided I wanted to start poking around to figure it out. You know how it is, darling. I can't keep losing people like this.
Yeah, I kind of get it.
It's bad for business.
Yeah. So what are Malvora?
Malvora are a type of vampire that feed on emotions. They
Actually-
specifically feed on despair.
This might be difficult, but vampires are real?
Yes.
We've been having this talk a lot today. Yes.
And
Vampire.
he's
They're-
doing
So,
it as
out of
like
character,
Nikki doesn't know.
Andy knows that I know all this,
Right.
but I'm asking him to do this all on the down low. So
Okay.
Yeah, Percy's
you
doing the
know,
like
and you're
super.
just-
Right.
you're playing along, I hope.
Yeah. I mean, Andy kind of assumes that like half of the people here have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, there's apparently other things like ghosts and wizards and
Yes.
ghouls and werewolves and all sorts of crazy things.
There's
out
werewolves.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There are whole varieties of.
There. Yeah.
Or variety. specifically.
Werewolves. Way the F over there, wolves. So
Yes, certainly not here, wolves.
Yeah, I had a issue
Wait,
with a
werewolf?
werewolf down in Baltimore, and
Okay, well,
why
luckily
I'm
there's
not
no
there.
werewolves here for us to worry about.
good, yes.
None at all.
Certainly not in broad daylight. The ghosts are an issue, or specters, or whatever. And also the fact that there might be at least one White Court vampire in that house. Who?
one I should find out.
I have a question, GM.
Sure.
While
Yep.
they're going through we're vaguely, there's no werewolves. There's no that, like, going through that. Can I be watching everybody's reactions to this?
Yes. What are you looking for?
I'm just curious. Like, I'm a little bit, because I've known Nikki so long, and she's also along the lines of, oh, what's like that? Her and Cole and Percy. I want to watch the three of them to be like, is this news to them?
Okay.
Not clued in at all.
Yeah, I would say if you guys want to try and play it off that you don't know what's going on, that will be a deceit roll, because you're lying. And then for Kasara, that would likely be an empathy, because you're trying to read people.
Cool, good. Sorry, that's my superb skill.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah, I'm playing the therapist of trying to pick up on body language is really where I'm trying to go with this.
And let's see, what aspects do you guys have?
You know, I guess that Andy didn't probably help when Nikki asked. He just looked at her like, really? Okay, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, I don't have deceit because I didn't even think about deceit being a thing. Because this is all fairly new news to me as far as having the best friend that's a vampire. So
Well,
yeah.
Hey, she's a human, perfectly human
I'm a
therapist.
perfectly normal human.
perfectly human.
no one knows that she's a vampire yet. Don't worry,
Well-
I'll get a soul gaze out of one of the two wizards soon.
I was gonna say.
No.
I'm waiting for that. Like, I imagine the only person that I have likely soul gazed is Harmony.
That's probably true. Yeah. I feel like that probably.
So I'm gonna roll with a +0. So, and I'm physically rolling. So I got a +1. So I got a 1. That's
Okay.
with my roll.
So no one else is trying to be sneaky.
Hold on, I got one coming.
Okay.
So mine isn't that I don't know. Percy's trying to act like he knows more than he does.
Okay.
So it's
okay.
the other way.
Yep. And I like that as a discipline check to try and trying to pretend it instead of a deceit check. Actually,
Yeah.
I like that. So yeah, Kasara, you read all of these people like a book.
Cool.
That doesn't obviously doesn't necessarily mean you know what they
I don't
are.
know specifically. I just something's
know-
weird.
You
You
know,
know I'm
Cole-
being shady.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know Cole and Nikki are not what they appear to be, and Percy as well. I mean, Percy is not what he appears to be. He seems like he's trying to put on airs, and you can
He's trying too hard.
it's like no, like that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta impress the wizard.
Yeah. So
Hey, like werewolves, 30 feet tall. You know.
It also it makes sense too because when he was like, yeah, there's different like the vampires thing. I'm like, but I know the vampire. I know this.
Right.
My mom's taught me. So yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Sorry.
Yep.
There
And
you go.
due to Cole's burglary skill, I'm adding second story window. Unlocked second story window as a means of egress and regress.
Cole, you volunteered to find out if he's still in there. You sure you're all right with doing that?
You know, I'll be out quick as Jackrabbit if something wrong.
Just be careful. Don't let them. If you see one, don't let them come near you.
Harmony, do you want to watch the front or do you want to go around back?
I'll go around back
Okay.
and keep an eye out. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I can always cushion Cole's fall. You could jump Cole if you need to.
I'll be all right.
Hey, Cole. And he kind of points to, he has a Bluetooth in. He's like, give me a call, and if anything goes wrong, like, say something. And I'll make sure things are a little easier for you on the way out.
If anything's going wrong, the call's coming from inside the house.
Percy, you may want to set up a different signal, because if something goes wrong and I have to cast a spell, or Andy does, the likelihood of your phone working is not high.
If something goes that wrong, the signal will be me jumping out the window.
The signal will also be the spell that's being cast.
Yes, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I can't do much, but I've talked to some of the people there.
The ghosts?
Yes, the people.
All right.
And
okay.
Can I use contacts for my ghosts to know the inside of this house, to give it to Cole before he goes in?
Interesting. You took a stunt, right?
I did, in terms of contacts.
I know just the guy, and
yeah.
I thought you meant more ghosts rather than.
Yeah, because I don't know anyone in Portland, but I know ghosts.
Yeah, I will let you roll contacts, and your stunt will provide a bonus to the roll. I think normally, isn't it +1 or is it +2?
I believe it is +1.
I think you're right.
So that's a 7 contacts roll?
7. Okay, I will now roll something sneaky. Okay, probably not gonna. 7's pretty good. I rolled like crap. Yep. So you are able to conjure a local spook. We'll say it is a youngish kid, indeterminate gender. It's much wispier than you're used to. Manny is usually just like it's freaking Manny. This is like almost like the shape of a person rather than like a fully formed futuristic. And you're not quite good at this yet, but you maybe could guess that the ghost is fading, and so therefore their identity, they're losing their identity and their memory, so they're essentially becoming like almost like a caricature of a human being's outline rather than actually a person with a face and a recognizable visage. So while they don't have a personage anymore, they are able to essentially relate to you the layout. Like, yeah, I was taken into the house and taken downstairs, and then it got real quiet for a long time, and they kind of like regale you with basically through the story. And it happens for all of the rest of you, you just kind of like watch Percy's eyes like kind of roll in the back of his head, and then all of a sudden he snaps back and he's like, it has the stairway here, and it basically just like it draws out a little map. You're not quite sure about the second floor because the ghost never went upstairs.
Okay.
But the basement and the first floor, you're pretty solid on.
And just as like a cap to that little rolled scene thing, Percy's going to turn, look in between, we'll say Harmony and Selena, to like an empty space and just be like, you can fade? And he's talking to thin air, essentially.
Or both of you. It's hard to tell.
And the ghost kind of just disappears, not answering your question.
Oh, that question was directed at Manny. Like,
Oh, okay.
You didn't tell me this can
Oh.
happen.
Yes.
There's
Ah.
anger there.
Dangar. All right. Well, that's Cole. Tip his hat and sneak off.
Yeah, so I was
Do you
trying
need
to
a
look
boost?
up
I'm
Book of
pretty
Shadow.
strong.
Page 169 on the main rule book. It's more effective than most at hiding in a reasonable size area of darkness or shadow, which is probably not happening right now.
It's daylight.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's broad daylight. Unfortunately, that was one of the
Yep.
scene aspects that I gave you guys. So
Wasn't my plan. It's fair. But, time may be a factor too. So let's just go with what we got. I mean,
If you want a boost, I can give you a boost.
to get up to the window?
Yeah.
Oh, I just think we sneak over here so nobody sees us going to the house.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm pretty sneaky. I can sneak over there with you to give you a boost.
Sure.
Or just
Veils are not my strong suit, but
Well, if you want, I just
Good.
follow what I do, and because I have a stunt that lets me help other people be sneaky.
all right.
Follow what I do, and we'll go on over.
okay, so we're splitting the party, so to speak. So if I understood correctly, Cole and Harmony and Nikki are going essentially up the block, kind of come around from the backside, and Anderson, Percy, and Kassara are kind of like sitting at the corner house, like looking across the way and keeping an eye on the house for now. Have I understood this correctly?
sounds about right.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, I have an idea. No idea if this will work because I really don't know yet how magic works. But I have earth magic, and I actually have a boost to, I think, the power of my earth magic from the stunt that I took, the refinement.
Okay.
Would it be possible for me to sort of muffle our footsteps or something through use of earth magic? To essentially like absorb the vibrations and the sound of our feet.
I would say absolutely. And I would say, so you're kind of trying to use your magic as a maneuver. And I would say if you are successful, you would essentially grant a +2 to everyone's stealth roll.
Okay.
So in order to do this, you have to first tell me how much power you're putting into it, and you can put as much power as you want, but if you put more power than your conviction score is, you start taking additional mental stress.
So my conviction is superb.
So you can put 5. You can put 5 power into your spell. You'll still take 1 mental stress, but you won't take any additional mental stress.
Okay. Well, and then I also have a +1 to power for earth magic. So does that mean I can put 6 in it and only take 1 stress?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll do that then because I want to make us quiet because I am not remotely stealthy. But I'll just go ahead and like probably kneel down and touch the ground and mutter some mumbo jumbo under my breath. It probably sounds like some really weird ancient language that no one's heard of because that's sort of what Harmony does.
It's Sumerian.
It's not Sumerian because you can understand Sumerian. You don't.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But it's probably in that neighborhood. And so then I have to make a conviction roll.
So yeah, the first thing you have to do is invocation. You essentially have to control the power. You have to focus. You have to gather the power. And with that, you make essentially you channel a number of shifts equal to your conviction, which you've just said you are doing 1+ because of your essentially your refinement. So that's gathering the power. Now you have to control your power, which means you have to roll a discipline roll, and the discipline rolls check is based on the amount of power you've put in your spell. So,
okay.
So you've put in 6 power.
So in hindsight, maybe some less power then to okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Probably don't need a whole lot to just make the ground soft.
Yeah, so maybe like 2 power.
So then the other thing is once you've controlled it, you use the spell, and then the use of the spell, whether or not it's is if it's strong enough to do what you want it to do, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Let's do. So I feel I haven't actually written out what my focus items are, but I would imagine that I because my discipline is not as good, I would probably have a focus item for this.
For Earth magic.
Yeah.
I will buy it. Okay.
So I will do 3 power into this spell, and then with my focus, I would have a +5 for my discipline check.
Okay.
So I just go ahead and roll discipline.
Yep.
Oh no.
Well. So you actually, so it's 2. So you put 3. So you have 1 shift of power that is unaccounted for. So you have 2 options. You can have backlash, which means you absorb the excess energy, and the spell will go off without a hitch, but you will be hurt because you are essentially sucking up the energy. Or you can have fallout, where the excess energy runs wild and does whatever I want it to do.
Oh no. Okay. Because I feel I did just make one of my aspects. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, do you have any aspects or fate points that might bump that roll up?
So now comes the perfect time. You can use a fate point to re-roll your dice, or you can use a fate point to invoke an aspect such as I didn't mean to do that, and add a +2 to the roll you've just done, therefore granting you a 3, and it would meet the 3, and therefore your roll would go out with a hitch.
I only have 2 fate points, and I can't go below 1. So
no. Okay, so the fate points you can go to 0. Your refresh you cannot go below 0. So if you cannot take powers that would draw your refresh rate to 0, because then you become an NPC.
Have 2 points then that I can spend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, then in that case, yes, I will go ahead and spend one of my fate points to, I guess, invoke the aspect and get that bonus so that I meet the roll.
Okay, so yes, our first invoke. Yay! So yes, you start gathering the power and you start saying your essentially nonsense phrase, and you can come up with a name for this spell if you would like later, like Fuego, and you murmur into so describe your spell. What happens? How does it take over the ground?
So I would say there's almost like not quite a ripple in the ground, but like it just goes suddenly very, very still. Like normally there are, the rustle of the grass and things like that, and little rock pebbles moving and everything and that. And it's
concrete.
Yeah, and it's almost like that's all gone away and everything has just become very quiet and still, and actually I'll almost as a, making sure that the spell worked, I'll sort of gently tap the ground and just can feel it absorbing my my movement. And then I'll look up at Cole and Nikki and I'll be like, okay, I think we're good.
Excellent. Yeah. And I kind of envision it almost like the scene from Black Panther when he tries out the sneakers and he's jumping up and down and there's no sound. That's essentially you guys start walking and there's just weirdly no sound. So everybody, well, Cole has already rolled his stealth check, but
I typed in chat what I got, so that way I wasn't talking over anybody.
Perfect. So it's a 1 + 3, so you got a 4, and then so Harmony.
How many dice do I roll for this?
4 dice, and you add your stealth check.
Cool. So awesome.
Which is probably.
I did not take stealth, so that's part of the reason why I did this.
So
I got a 2.
So +2, and then Nikki has a 6 and Cole has an 8. So you all think you are pretty sneaky. So you're kind of circling around, and you come to the back area of the houses. What do you do there?
Guess we.
You said that there was a window, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna offer my hands like to just kind of like launch him up towards the window so he can get to it. Basically, to give him like a boost.
Okay. So as you go to give him a boost and you kind of like boost him up, and Cole, you start climbing out the window. There is a ruckus inside, and you see some familiar people, Cole, come out the front door. You spent a lot of time working for the mob in Boston, and the mafia, and you recognize one of the old hitter squads that you used to see come and go through the days of working in Boston, and they start opening up on your left behind group who were not sneaking, and they pull out guns and they just start firing in their general direction, and you're like, oh. And that is where we will end for the night because it is 11 o'clock.
Great.
Joy.
He's just like, not again.
I want to get Cole just kind of under his breath, kind of, oh, hell.
So I hope you all had a fun time. And I enjoyed your building of characters. It's so much good stuff. So much good stuff. Thank you, chat, for coming along with this awesomely wild ride. The first of 12 games played in the Dresden verse. I am the DM. I am Adam_J_Pearson on the Twitters. And I would like my lovely cast to reintroduce themselves as we say goodbye. Good night.
Sure.
So why don't we start at the bottom and start with Nick.
Hello, I am Nick. I am on Twitter at 2KNick. I also do some things for Roll for Change at Roll4Change. We do charity mixed with tabletop RPGs. So check that out if you would like to help good causes. We still have donations going up for Trans Lifeline. Also, I just want to mention that subs are half off for the month of September. So, September, if you like the content you saw today, please consider throwing a sub our way. We would be super happy.
Gift subs count too.
Mm-hmm. Also, Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime subs, one free sub. If you want to use that on us, we'd be very happy.
Yeah. Excellent. Going up, Selena.
My name is Selena. This is my first stream, so I think it went pretty well. You can find me at ABCD Bar, PFARR, and I'm just here. So that's I don't do anything. This is just me now. Streaming is just what I'm going to be doing now, I guess. And that's me.
Excellent. One of us indeed. All right. Bringing us to CJ.
I'm CJ Hunter. I am on Twitter at Commander Pulsar. We stream a little bit of video games. I do some prep for my tabletop games because I like talking about, like we were saying earlier, I watch streams instead of television. I read gaming books instead of novels. This is my fun. And so I'll talk about my offline games so that my players don't get too involved, but to see how games, I like to play everything that isn't Dungeons and Dragons because I love D&D, but D&D doesn't need my help. But I like to promote everything but Dresden Files and Fate and Blades in the Dark and all the other cool stuff, which you can frequently see on Variant Roles. So you'll probably see more of me here too, because they're playing good stuff that I like. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Danielle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle. I'm at RyRackandTor on Twitter, where you can follow me for all things nerdy and geeky. I talk about D&D and other tabletops. I do cosplay. I write books. So if you like any of those things, you are welcome to follow me. You can also catch me streaming at a couple of different places. I'm currently DMing a game on Nat Scroticus's channel called The Choir of Elements. It's all set in the elemental planes. I am playing an Invisible Sun game on at Other Doc's channel, where I am a weaver, which is very, very fun. She also sets things on fire. There's definitely a recurring theme to my characters. And then you can see me here in another week or two on Variant Roles, coming back with season 2 of my fantasy insurance claims adjusters game, Dungeons and Deductibles. They own an insurance company now. It's going to be a disaster.
Awesome. All right, coming up to Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie, known as Chaotic Rogue. You can find me at Chaotic Rogue on Twitter. I am on a plethora of other streams, apparently. You can find me on Tuesday nights on Unmade Gaming for the Princesses of Sky Sea, also playing in Fate. We're Masters of Undar game. We've got a few more sessions of that. Alternating Sundays on Goldheart Gaming, where we're playing Legacy of Eldrin, which is a D&D game set in a homebrew setting. And yeah, I think that's actually my life for right now for Streamwise. Otherwise, if you want to see what I do, I work with wonderful people at the Mage College creating third-party content for TTRPGs. We have a Patreon if you really like what we do. We also have a bunch of stuff up on DM's Guild, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up this fall. I think that's everything I have to play for once.
Excellent. Lots of good stuff. And last, but certainly not least, Zachary.
Hi, I'm Zach. I am at Sir Gorals on Twitter. The only thing I am streaming right now is this game, which I'm super thrilled with, despite all the incoming stress. So on Twitter, I talk about role-playing games and also show off my Thai game. That's the main things that I am doing currently. Also talk about writing every now and then. But
Awesome.
I'll be here on Fridays for Dresden.
Yes.
Thai game is strong, Zach. Thai game is strong.
Thank you.
Very
There's a lot of Paisley. Spoiler
Very
alert.
strong game. And as I said, I'm Adam. We will be back next week to find out what these shenanigans are going to lead to. There is nothing left for VR this evening, but stay tuned for this weekend because we've got a host of shows, and my wheel mouse isn't working currently. And the schedule is not here. I think MoveBot knows the schedule, maybe, question mark. Let's see. Nope. Cool. Things are happening tomorrow, at least one of which is As the Sun Burns, which is the Invisible Sun, streaming at 9. I am running a Wild Hunt Monster of the Week version one-shot where my players are going to be working for the Earl King. Definitely no cross-pollination happening at all. And then there is an early morning game. I think Nox is running a romance. I can't remember what she's running. I apologize, Nox, if you're in the chat. But that is us for this evening. Thank you for coming along, and hopefully we will see you next week. Otherwise, stay strange, stay fun, and is it Friday yet? Good night, guys.
Bye.
Night.